Limerick was entered, that's his email address, and we're going to continue. So he's now associated with that loop. Now you come to the forms page. Left-hand side is the library. All the PAR forms are now in My Transactions, so they're over here on the left. The right-hand side is the forms that are going to be put in that loop. There is also, you can create templates. So if you have buyer forms you always use, or listing forms you always use, there's a way to create a template for those and then pull those in. Similar to what zip forms does, you can create those templates. But for today, we're just going to come over here. We're going to pull in buyer agency agreement. We're going to add it to the loop. We're going to add the consumer notice. Consumer notice. Put into the loop, and then we're going to move on. There it is. First form that comes up is the buyer agency contract. I'm going to go through just like you would on zip forms. You're going to fill out the information that you have that's necessary. You'll see the little initial boxes down here where your client is going to sign and where you're going to sign. So you have places for initials and you have places for signatures. For this, we're just going to move on. Oh. Okay, so this one's asking me, I have to sign this one. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to sign here, I'm going to initial here. Oops. Bring up the next form. Oh. After every form is going to ask you for your password. That verifies your signature. So I'm going to type in my password. Hopefully I remember it. Okay, so there it is. So I've signed that form, and I'm going to go on to the next one. We'll go through the same thing. Consumer notice now comes up. I'm going to page to the bottom where I'm going to sign. I'm going to select my name. Now I've signed that. And again, asking me to authorize my signature, which I'm going to do. And then moving on. We're going to continue on, and we're going to come back to the loop page. And right now it's telling me that these forms are currently, it's telling me the status. Both these forms are now with me. I'm the buying agent. I have to submit to the buying client. That's what we're going to do here. So it's telling me exactly what I need to do. This is a little custom email address. You can type whatever you want to type in here. Let's talk in today. And then you're going to send to that client. And that's it. So off it goes. So it goes out to that client. So your client's sitting at home. And you'll see here I sent a buyer, my activity log tells me I sent a contract and consumer notice to Lucky Limerick. So I'm Lucky Limerick, I'm sitting at home, got my email up. And here it goes. I get documents from Lucky Limerick, for Lucky Limerick, sent from the agent. So he's going to click on here and this is what he's going to see. Here's my little nice to talk to you today. Please click here, and it's going to bring them to the .loop website. So this is what your client's going to see. It's not seeing eEdge, it's not seeing the Keller Williams site. All he's seeing is this right here. And it's going to ask him first to register, and he's going to add his name, and we'll do that. But I've done this several times the past few days. I had an agent we did an addendum to sale, addendum to the agreement of sale, our agent who was down in Chad's Ford. So I did this the other night, and I sent it to her. And she pulled this up, and I got our agent who was down in Chad's Ford. So I did this the other night, and I sent it to her. And she pulled this up, and I got an email back. She had no problem. She had no questions about how she did it. She just followed the instructions. She did it. She signed it, came back, and I got an email from her. She goes, wow, way cool. And then she wanted to know all about the program, so I went into the whole thing. I used it as a recruiting thing. I was trying to recruit her into the system because she thought it was the best thing she'd seen. So
we like to hear that.
it was really good. Now, you know, obviously you're going to have those people who aren't so tech savvy, and perhaps you have to do a hard copy, and I'll show you how you can do that. But here's what Lucky Limerick sees. He's going to be asked to register his name, so he's going to sign in. He's going to ask him whatever questions he wants. We're going to say it's Smith, and we're going to make a password of Lucky. Remember that in case I forget. All right, so he's registered. There's no cost to him. There'd be no cost to the co-op agent. It's all free to them, and this is what they see. Now they're going to have access to these forms for 7 years. So even, you know, after the sale is done, they want to come back and see whatever, they'll be able to log into .loop, use their password, it'll pull up all those forms that are in here.
Jim,
yes.
Where are they stored?
.loop has the, you know, the massive cloud. It's a cloud-based system. So here's Lucky Limerick. He's going to pull up his forms, and then he's going to sign. He can open them in PDF. If he wants to open them and print them out, he can do that. If he just wants to sign them, he can do that as well. He's going to do that. So we're going to pull these up. We'll give him a little video to tell him what he needs to do. And then it pulls up the form, and he goes down and he signs Lucky. And the next page. Signs the final one. Down here, he's Lucky. And he continues. It's going to bring up the consumer, or he's going to be asked to authorize his signature, which he does gladly. And go on to the consumer notice, which comes down here, clicks over here, and he's going to sign. Clicks here, signs. That's it. And I just got the text message that says, form signed by client for Lucky Limerick. So I've just been told that he signed those forms. So I know that he's done that. I'm going to get another one in a second. So that's it. And there's the other one. So he signed both forms. So now I'm going to come back. I come back to my dashboard. Fresh it up here. And it's going to say clients have signed consumer notice, client has signed that, and we're set. Pretty cool. All right, so let's say Lucky now finds a house. I take Lucky out, I show him everything, and now he finds a house. Now he wants to put an offer in on a house. Not really different than what we just did, except for now we're going to associate it with an address. So we're going to start a new loop. It's going to be a buying loop. So we're going to start here. This is where if you have the templates set up, you're going to pull these up and it'll have the forms. I have one set up. I guess we can use that as a template that was started. So I'm going to start my buying form. It's going to go to the forms. Oh, it's going to ask me for an address. Now this is really cool here. If you're a Keller Williams agent, if it's a Keller Williams agent, it's going to pull up the agents for Keller Williams. So you'll have their email address and their contact info. If it's a listing, here's even better. All right, so let's let's say it's Glenn Russell. It's now going to pull up all his listings. So if I'm making an offer on 320 Lincoln Avenue, I'm going to pull that into it. If it's an outside agent, non-Keller Williams agent, you're just going to type his name, or you're going to type the address of the property. But for any Keller Williams, it's going to automatically pull that info in. So here's the template had these forms set in. I could add more forms if I want to. I can take some of these forms out if I want to. For today, we're just going to leave it like that. We're going to create a loop. Again, I'm going to look for Lucky. There's Lucky, so I'm going to click on Lucky. He's added into that loop. And now it's going to take me through these forms, just like we did before. You're going to go through the forms and fill them out. You have whatever you need to have in there. You'll go through. We're going to use our little breadcrumbs, go back to the main screen, and then this is the buying loop for this property in Lansdowne. Here's all the forms that I have in here. Gives me the status. I haven't started any of these forms yet. But as I start them, it's going to tell me what the status are. It's going to tell me where they are, if they're with me, or if I've sent them to the listing agent. If there's any action that's required on my part, all that I'll view up here. And then over here you have me, I'm the buying agent. You have the listing agent, and then you'll have my client in here. Now I can't contact the seller. I don't have access to do that. My contact is only with the listing agent and my client. And the listing agent's contact is only with me and their client.
Is there a fail-safe, let's say you forget to do the consumer notice? Does it alert you along the way, or is that the MCA catching it?
That would be the MCA, yeah. Yeah, if she went through and said no consumer notice, you'd get a text or an email saying, hey, you need to correct this. So we can go through this the same way we just did, but it's essentially the forms go over to the listing agent. Let's say it's an offer. Okay, so you have an offer, you put in an offer on this property, you're sending it to Glenn Russell for his review to discuss with his client. He can do a couple of things. And starting out is probably all going to be a verbal type thing. He's going to talk to his client. They're going to, if the offer is 160, they're going to say we want